Oh, recording this computer. There we go. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome one and all to episode 3 of That Fringe Show, brought to you by us, by Ironclad Creative CIC, and we are delighted to speak to many, many wonderful people bringing shows to the Brighton Fringe in 2023. And without any further ado, I'm going to get straight in there and speak. I'm going to speak to you all on the order that you appear on my screen. Hello, wife material. Hello, how are you?
Hello, hello.
What's going on? What's your show? Where is it? What dates are there? All that sort of thing.
So, yes, Sophia and I, we are Wife Material. We have got a show that is all about interracial queer joy and exploring the blueprint for marriage when you don't have one, when there's more than one wife. What is married life with more than one wife? That is the
That's fantastic.
Yes. But yes, I think that one of the things that is kind of great about our show, it is relevant to everyone, whether you are in a long-term relationship, whether you're married, whether you're LGBTQ, whether you're not, and you want to exploring the sort of similarities and differences. There's a lot in there for everyone. Plus, it is an opportunity for myself and Sophia to take the mick out of each other through the medium of stand-up and poetry. So so I'm the stand-up. She does more poetry, and it's telling sort of that story with the sort of, on one level, the story of the sort of move towards greater emancipation for the LGBTQ community from Section 28 through to gay marriage, because it's almost the 10-year anniversary of that, through to what is married life with more than one wife, and exploring what that is on the day-to-day too.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Helena. We're going to speak to you a bit further, a bit later. But for now, we're going to spiral really quickly for the rest of our guests as well, including Aidan. There's one of you there, but I believe, if I'm correctly remembering, there are 2 shows for you to talk about. Is that right?
Yeah, so I perform as a comedy character called Brandy Bex, she's a nurse, so it's very NHS nursing themed humour. The first show is a Drop of Brandy with friends. That's at the Carolina Brunswick, and that is Brandy hosting character comedy and stand-up comedy. So Kitty Cassis will be headlining. We've got local comedian Kate McGann. So that's going to be an amazing comedy show. The second is Extravaganza 3 at the Ironworks on the 4th of June. And I run Extravaganza events, tend to be a fundraiser for charity. And that's just a mix of burlesque, drag, comedy, music, etc. So Brandy will be doing a 20-minute set there. That'll be hosted by Stella Pint.
Oh, fantastic. Excellent. So we'll speak to you further about that as we go along. And next on my screen, we have Nee and Eleanor. Hello. With Sons. Tell me.
Hello. So we are Concept Theatre, and Sons is a one-man play that I've written, that Eleanor's directed, and it's about a man called John whose girlfriend's in labour, and instead of going to be with her through this challenging time, he has an existential crisis, and is kind of like, how do I raise a son? I haven't had many positive male role models, and how do you raise I suppose a man in a world where men's bad behaviour is ignored and at times encouraged. It's on the 18th and 19th of May at the Caravanserai at 6:30. So come along if you can.
Excellent. We are going to be speaking to you all and getting you dates and your venues. We're going to be speaking about that repeatedly throughout the time that we've got. So I know that I haven't got all the dates and venues from people that I've already spoken to, but I will be coming back to you to get you to tell me that repeatedly and again. So we're all going to be golden on that. But Ollie, hello. Now there is more than one of you there. What's going on there?
Hi, so I'm Ollie. I have written a musical called Rockstar, and we are the cast of Rockstar. So
I'm Will, hello, and I play a character of Billy in Rockstar. My name's Charlie Pybrook, and I play Jack in Rockstar.
And I'm Emily Sortel, and I play Mara.
So these two are a singer-songwriter duo, and I play their agent, and I encourage them to recruit a female singer. I think that'll help them become more mainstream. But Mara's presence causes all sorts of creative and romantic tensions And just as the band is successful, things start to go horribly wrong.
And you're going to pack all of that into a Fringe hour.
Apparently so. Yeah, we just ran it for the first time today, and yeah, the time is going to be interesting.
Interesting. And where are you going to be performing that?
We are performing at the Rotunda on Regency Square, and that's the 31st of May to the 4th of June. So the last 5 days of the Fringe.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. All right, so let's get deeper into those conversations. And back to you, Helena, with wife material. I'm aware that I didn't actually ask you when your dates and your venue is. What's going on there?
So yeah, we are going to be at the Caxton Arms, so right by the station, and that's taking place from the 8th to the 11th of May. We're at 9:15 p.m. So a nice late evening slot, so running from Monday to Thursday. That's tonight to Thursday. So yeah, and it's £3 for concessions, £5 for full access. So yeah, less than a drink to have an hours of excitement and entertainment. So yeah, it's going to be cool.
Fantastic. So tell me more about how easy or challenging or something in between it is to put together a show that is some sections stand up, some sections poetry. Where do you find the balance for that?
Yeah, it's been quite a journey, and in a really fun way, because I think that usually you're used to seeing those two disciplines very much separate. Not only usually often in a separate venue, never mind not in the same thing. So yeah, I think that the thing that brings it together is the fact that Sophie and I have a huge appreciation for our each other's respective art forms, and I think that it's enabled us to bring some things that you probably haven't seen before. For example, I've never heard of a poetry callback until I discovered one, until Sophia did one in the show. Being able to sort of have a bit of fun, and because her style of poetry, it has in many ways some highly sort of comic and entertaining elements to it. So I think that being able, it means that they very much support one another, and that they complement one another very well. I also try to sort of get my toes, get my feet wet in terms of like trying out a little bit as well. So that's always a fun experience too.
Excellent. So because of the subject that you're covering, which is just a myriad of subjects and it can be really expansive, are there things that just you didn't have time for? Are there gags or poetry or subjects or mini subjects that you just didn't have time to explore in the time that you've got?
Well, I'd say that we've sort of managed to deal with all these in quite a compact way. I think that part of the creative process will always mean that maybe there's a few songs that you want to develop that that you might not have time to do. For example, I think that in the future we might find ourselves sort of exploring a bit more sort of the musical comedy side of things, because there is a little bit of it in the show. So being able to take that in that direction in future will be something that we explore more. But ultimately, the overall sort of story arc is locked. We know where we want to take things. We know this kind of things. The ideas and the story that we want to tell. So yeah, I don't feel in any way concerned that there's things missing. But I think that there's always, as with any sort of form of art, there's always an opportunity to take things further.
Well,
I think that music is part of the versions.
Yeah, absolutely. And that reminds me of another thing that I wanted to ask, which you may indeed answer in the hour. So you may not want to answer this now. It may be something that we have to wait for. What makes good wife material?
Oh, that's a good question. And it's a weird one, because in many ways, we don't necessarily tell you, but we aim to show you. So we because I suppose there's one thing, for example, I mean, here's an example. When somebody sort of tells you that they are a certain way, let's say they're kind of kind or friendly or funny, whatever it is, that's one thing. If someone shows it to you, then it becomes more compelling. So, you know, we're very keen to not be really didactic and say, well, you know, here are the 5 ingredients, you know, of wife material, because actually what that is you know, ever evolving and expanding. However, I think that there are certain ways of being that I think really matter. And we explore those as part of the show. So yeah, that's a very lengthy way of me not answering your question and saying you've got to come along and see.
You know what? I have on good authority that if you don't want to answer a question, just answer it longer.
Yeah.
That's a real, you've got it gold. All right, thank you, Helena. We're going to get back to you later, I believe. And Aidan, hello. How
Hello.
are you feeling? Remind me when your first date is?
So a Drop of Brandy with friends is on at the Cal.
Really sort of lovely and gorgeous and warm evening. What makes, because yes, I think sometimes when we are, what advice can we give to good audiences to treat Brandy well?
I think we just learn together. At the end of the day, I have tried to include audience members before, and you sense that they're uncomfortable and you just move on as quickly as you possibly can. You don't want to embarrass somebody. You don't want to put people at ill ease or anything during the show. You know, the aim is that everyone enjoys themselves. So it's not about humiliation and that. And mostly there's people that do want to join in. People are up for it. They're up for a laugh. And I think Brandy's, there's a lot of banter and there's, you know, she's very kind. So I think people get a good beat on her.
Excellent, thank you. And talk about joining, you're being joined by many other acts, like you say, Kate McGann and whatever. How do you find the people for your lineups?
Generally by going out watching stuff.
Yeah.
So I go out and watch as many shows as possible. I'm always on the Brighton comedy scene looking at stuff. I go to London looking at cabaret. And the more you mix with people, the more you meet with more people. While I'm gigging, I'll mix with people as well. So yeah, it's just, I love the community aspect of performing. I love Fringe for meeting other artists, networking, and just generally getting that vibe. So for me, I just love meeting people. So that's how I do it.
Absolutely. I think that it can be really valuable, even for somebody who's essentially quite as shy as I sometimes am. That whole idea of just meeting other people and finding each other can be really valuable, particularly for a thing like Fringe. Well, thank you, Aidan. I'll probably get back to you as well later. And hello, Concept Theatre. Hello. How are you? How's it going on for you?
Good. Yeah, it's really nice, interesting hearing all the different shows that are going on, more of the Fringe. Yeah, it's great.
How has it been bringing Sons through various doors and various Fringes? How's that been for you?
Yeah, good. We did the Vault Festival, and that was like, I suppose, kind of our tester almost in a way. It was kind of going, okay, we launched it to an audience, to reviewers, getting feedback, and it was positive. So that's great. So it's just excited to bring it here and do it in a Fringe that we've never done before.
Yeah, definitely. More days.
It occurs to me, I'm almost going to ask almost a less light-hearted question than I've asked anybody else to put this onto you suddenly that morning. Nee, you've written this and you're in this. You are the solo performer in the show that contains your own words. I know the director's right there.
Yeah.
But how is it to be directed by somebody who isn't, I mean, you on one level know exactly what your play means. You know the intention. How do we form that relationship?
I think it's a different one in terms of like I think on our first day of rehearsal, Ellie said to me, she was like, I'm not here to like almost put my vision of the show onto you. I'm here to see what you want it to be and then just pull it out even further. So I think that was quite nice because then it was kind of like part kind of like my instincts and part of going, what do you want this scene to say, or how, if you want it to feel this way or build this atmosphere, this is kind of how we do it and move it and light it and things like that. So it was almost just nice having an outside eye to go, this is kind of what, if this is kind of the bullseye you want to hit, here's how you get to it. Because I think you can only do so much by yourself without having, you know, I suppose, some sort of audience to go, this is where you're missing it. You could, you know, if you're one person, sometimes you miss things.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm sorry, go on ahead, Anna.
Oh, no, sorry. I was just going to say, I think it was really nice when we first started working together in university, I think the reason why we wanted to start a company was because we really loved working together, and it always felt easy and really like you know, we worked together and were very sort of cohesive in our thinking, and it was nice that we could just jump straight back into that.
So nice.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm going to jump on to Ollie as well. I mean, just by the nature of the name of your show alone, the fact that you have your own name and Rockstar on your name, that's got to be worth the price of a ticket alone, surely.
Well, it's kind of ironic because I'm the only person that doesn't sing in it, so I'm definitely not the rock star. That's these three.
And how did you find one another?
Well, that's an interesting question. This guy, once upon a time, was actually my student. I used to be a secondary school teacher, and he was absurdly talented, even as a teenager. And when I started writing, I mean, he'd long left school, but I kind of thought of him in a particular role, and yeah, we sort of started working together from that point of view. He was actually in a production with Emily of Murder Ballad, Once Upon a Time. So that's the connection between them. And this guy, Charlie, none of us knew before, but we are absolutely delighted to have him as part of the company because he is an absurdly wonderful actor. And I think we're all learning a lot from him, actually. So yeah, we're having a really good time working together.
Excellent. Well, that genuinely sounds exciting. For a show that's called Rockstar, I mean, this may not always happen, but I'm interested to see if it does. Is there music within the show?
Absolutely. So it features original songs. The songs are very much, I think the music would appeal if you're a person who loves Queen or The Killers or Kings of Leon. Then the music in Rockstar would really appeal to you. But the songs are original. They're all original songs that were written specially for the show.
Excellent. Well, I think I want to speak to you a bit further, Ollie, and your gang, but that allows me to segue slightly, and I'll start with you, Ollie. What's a perfect track to do a warm-up exercise? What's the most empowering track you're going to start a rehearsal with?
That's a tricky one.
I'm going to ask all of you that question, so that's your 3-minute warning to find out what the hell your answer will be. But yeah, Ollie and your gang, what do you think?
All right, well, I'm going to say the opening song of the show. It's actually what we use to warm up. We all try to use it to release our inner rock star. We all prance around the performance area, playing air guitar and just being completely ridiculous, because it's hopefully one of those sort of uplifting rock ballads. It's called Flying Free, so it's nice and kind of hopeful and optimistic. So yeah, for us, I don't know if they would say that's their perfect warm-up, but we're using it.
Be contractually obliged to go, yes, we agree. But yeah, they're all nodding. We're going. Fantastic, excellent. Helena and Wife Material, what would be a fantastic empowering track to start your rehearsals with?
So for us, we love a bit of kind of vintage type kind of Motown music. So anything by Etta James.
Oh, yeah.
There's, Must Be Love, At Last, that kind of thing. Something that kind of gets you in the mood, gets you pumping, and it really sort of reflects the mood of the show. I think that, the point around kind of queer joy is also about sort of finding references in the world that kind of bring us joy, and that's one of them.
Beautiful, fantastic, Helena, thank you. Aidan, what would be your or Brandy's uplifting track?
Probably something either Britney or Kylie, Madonna, Work Bitch or something like that. Something, yeah, that would be me.
No arguments here. There we go. Fantastic. And concept theatre. You may have 2 different answers.
Yeah, Ellie, what would be your?
I
mean, for me, it's got to be Beyonce. It's going to be like something from the latest album, getting me, Summer Renaissance. I'm ready to go. What about you?
Oh, goodness, I've no idea. I tend to really enjoy some very strange, like modern classical music. Tends to be where I live in my professional life. So something weird like Panda Chant or something.
I can't wait until we all contribute onto a Spotify playlist. Walking through the streets of Brighton, looking for our next show at the Brighton Fringe. Actually, who here has done a Brighton Fringe before? Wave at me if you've done a Brighton Fringe before. 2 of you. Now, that means I'm going to put a bit of pressure on you. You have the power to let us know, the rest of us know, what do we need to survive a Brighton Fringe? Because also those of us who have done more than one Fringe may be aware that Brighton can be a bit different from Edinburgh, etc. So Helena, please, what's going to be in your rucksack to survive a day at the Brighton Fringe?
Trainers. Because you'll be walking around, flying a lot, getting to talk to people, and yeah, I think that while we found that sort of getting out there, getting sort of advertising out there has been helpful in terms of letting people know that the show exists. I think that we're beginning to think that getting face-to-face time to talk to people is really where the magic is at, especially when people's inboxes around this time are going to be hammered with all sorts of potential opportunities. So that's where our focus is at the moment.
Fantastic. That should be a slogan for a future Fringe. #potential opportunity. I'm liking that. But I can't steal that. That's yours, Helena. I can't steal it from you. That's yours. And Aidan, yes, Aidan, what do you have, or what do you advise us to have to survive a day at the Fringe?
Okay, so my previous experience was performing with a troupe called Spit the Ink. So Brandy performs with them as well. We do charity fundraising shows for that, which we'll be doing again this year. So for me, I would say go out flyering, because you will meet so many people, you'll chat to other performers. That's for me one of the best parts of Fringe, is going up and down the street, making a fool of yourself, flying and just getting to meet loads of people and go and see other people's shows. Because you'll learn from it, you'll meet people, and you'll have a fantastic time as well. So just try and embrace the whole of Fringe. Don't think of your own show, just think of Fringe as one massive kind of event, and try and experience as much as you can.
I think that's absolutely on the nose, Aidan. Yeah, I mean, the way that we can enjoy the Fringe is just to consume as much of it as possible, and on a particularly, even if it's a purely mercenary level, the main way that many of us are going to find out about someone's show is if you happen to be in the audience for someone else's show. So it can really, really work well. Ollie, I know that you say that you haven't done a Brighton Fringe before, but what are you thinking? How are you going to get through the month of May?
I've done the Edinburgh Fringe before, though not with this show. And I would say, I would kind of echo something that Aidan said. I think if you find other shows that you have a point of connection with, and go and see them, and kind of try to build relationships with other shows and other performers. It was interesting hearing about wife material, because it sounds like there's a sort of polyamory kind of aspect to the theme.
No.
Sorry, I misunderstood then. Apologies. But certainly, it sounds like, it certainly sounds like it's got a queer aspect, as does our show, because part of what it's about is a bisexual character being torn between a male partner and a female romantic interest, and being steered towards what might be deemed to be more mainstream and commercially acceptable. And I think an exciting thing about the Brighton Fringe, and even more so than the Edinburgh Fringe, is just the huge profusion of queer theatre and queer acts that's going on here. But there are lots of other potential points of connection, of course. And I think, going and seeing other shows that you might have some sort of thematic connection to is really important.
Absolutely, I think that's absolutely true, Ollie. I think that there are so many shows, and particularly the shows that we're speaking to today, everyone in this Zoom room, they come from what we know of them already at Ironclad. They come from this sense of a personal sort of experience, or the story that's being told. But we think that the more personal the story is, ironically, the more universal it gets. We don't need to worry about pleasing all the people. If we tell our story, there will always be people to find that story for you. Sons Concept Theatre, how are you going to survive what I'm guessing is your first Brighton Fringe? Is that correct?
Yeah, our first Brighton Fringe. I think, yeah, we're kind of going to steal what other people have said, essentially. I think we're going to just try and see as much as we can. And, you know, because I think when we did the Bolt Festival, that was kind of our biggest, like, not strength, but it was connecting with all the other artists and making new friends and potentially meeting new collaborators is so amazing and fantastic. And, you know, you almost like meet new people that you're like fans of their work. And that's so nice to kind of watch people that were all kind of in the Fringe together as they develop and bring shows elsewhere and grow their shows. Like, it's such a lovely feeling. So I think we're going to try to see as much as we can.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. I think that's great. I think that's what we feel about Ironclad as well. It's so easy, I think, for us to sort of get traction in the idea that if we are performers in the Fringe aspect, it can be quite a lonely business, and it can be, but it also doesn't have to be. We can find each other, we can support each other's shows, and we can possibly even collaborate, and that's just a thing of great beauty. It's been genuinely wonderful to speak to you all. You've been also impressive and erudite. I never used the word erudite in everyday conversation. I'm quite proud of myself. You've been such erudite in conversation that I don't think I have anything else to ask. So what I will ask, however, in closing, is in the order again that you appear on my screen. I'm going to ask you again to remind us of the name of your theatre or production company, the name of your show or shows, and the dates and times are on, and indeed the venue that are on. And for any of you who are still watching on the YouTube catch up, we'll include the links for that in the post below our what we share and what all these lovely companies here will share. But wife material, tell me, remind me what's going on, where and when.
So we are on between the 8th and the 11th inclusive of May. So all throughout all this week, Monday to Thursday. We are at the Caxton Arms, which is right by Brighton Station. We're on at 9:15, and our tickets are £5 and £3 for concessions. So less than a beer. So do come along and say hi.
Beautiful. Thank you, Helena. Thank you. Aidan, remind me.
Right. So if you want a taste of brandy before my shows, I'm performing with Spit the Ink in a show called Manifesting at the Actors this Thursday and Friday at 7 o'clock. And that's a fundraising event for local charity All Sorts, which is for young LGBTQ+. And then you've got a Drop of Brandy with Friends at the Carolina Brunswick on the 18th and 25th of May, and that's at 7 o'clock. That's the mixed bill comedy one with Kitty Cassis. And then finally, the last day of Fringe, Sunday the 4th of June at the Ironworks Studios is Extravaganza 3 Fringe Benefits, which is a mixed bill cabaret of burlesque, drag, comedy, and all my events, the All That Bex events, are in aid of Nurse Lifeline, which is a UK charity which promotes the mental and emotional well-being of nurses. And selected items on my website, 100% of the profits will also be going to the charity. So that's allthatbex.com. So you can find details there. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. And Concept Theatre, hello.
Yes, so the show is called Sons. It's on the 18th and 19th of May at 6:30 at the Caravanserai Junk Poet. Was there anything else? No.
I think that's it.
That's it. Yay.
There we go. That's why we know you've been a good writer for your play. You can get it all distilled down into a single, easy to understand. Well done. Fantastic. And Ollie, I'd be so tempted to ask you and your team to deliver your information in the style of a rock song, but I'm not going to, because that'd be cruel. I gave you no prep for that whatsoever. So remind us your show, dates, times, and venue.
I can feel the gratitude emanating from behind me. So our show is Rockstar.
We are on at the Rotunda Theatre Bubble. We are performing the 31st of May till the 4th of June.
At 7:30 p.m.
A genuine team effort. Look at that. That's been quite moving, actually. Well done. Well, thank you so much for everyone watching, and those of you watching on our YouTube catch up. As we say, all the links for those shows will, as you've probably already seen, be in the comments below. It's going to be a gorgeous Fringe, and from all of our guests here, we're going to wave you a happy goodbye. Hello and goodbye. There we go. There we go. Fantastic. Excellent.